Welcome back to a very messed up looking Bearded Ramblings. It is I, Low Energy, Master of Nothing. Um, we are,
Especially not energy.
oh, or camera positioning, apparently. I am joined by, as always, Krendar, even though you can't see him. And, oh God, it
Kind
made,
of trapped in this box.
it
Help.
made everyone's cameras just went all wonky and I have to start from scratch.
Help, let me out.
Well, you know he's there in spirit because he doesn't have a body. You can't see him. We're also joined by Landon, who is actually live
Oh,
outside in a bougie restaurant or cafe.
hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone and latitude from your Starboard guide to our favorite universe. I'm here at this American town next to the border, and it's a nice sunny day. It's actually 30 degrees, which is a bit warm for here. That's, by the way, that's for those that are metrically challenged. That's 86 Fs. Um, or you might, scientific purposes, you might say 303 Kelvin. Not 303 degrees Kelvin. You have to say 303 Kelvin because go for it. Or 99 Newton if you're into that. But
I
yeah,
like
30,
I prefer to
30
go
is
with Kelvin in my day-to-day life.
yes, especially in Antarctica, I would announce the temperature in Kelvin because there's lots of Kelvin even when it's cold. So yeah, but out here on this, I'm this the cafe. I went outside here to see the street sounds and noises and that sort of thing. So how are things going?
uh, I am doing okay considering the chaos that infused my life over the past week. Um, it's not all bad. For example, my roommate's family came to visit and left tons of snacks. So many snacks, my God.
Ooh,
Uh,
offerings.
yes, they didn't want to take them home with them, so I'm like, yay. Um, I um, I have devoured all the bread-based items, but they left many sauces, so that will do me in the weeks ahead very well. Um, but anyway, beyond that, it's been good. As you can tell, folks, we've had a bit of a technical whoops and a doodle here at Low Energy Videos. I talked about it
What do you
on
mean?
An
Everything looks perfect.
oopsie-doodle? An oopsie-doodle?
an upsy doodle daisy. No, what was the one from Fat Grandma? A slice of upsy daisy pie. That's what's happened. Slice of upsy daisy pie. Yeah, so basic gist is just that my computer started to get a bit laggy and slow, and then more slow and more laggy and unresponsive. And I was thinking, oh God, do I have malware? Did I download something bad? Is there just not enough memory? I checked everything. I went through the hoops, and that was not the problem. And I ran out of choices.
Did
So
you jump through the hoops or just went through them?
oh,
Because
I went through
jumping
them.
through hoops.
I became transparent at one point, and I actually phased through realities. It was a harrowing experience, but in the process, I forgot to do backups on my
Oh,
all my
oops.
files when I did the hard reset. So that's, as you can see here, bearded rambling, not what she used to be. I will
Hmm.
get back what I can or make something new. This could be an opportunity to do a little bit of remodeling, so it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
this is probably. I mean, I'm sorry for your data loss and hope that you can recover relatively soon. Of course, this might be a also. And again, I mean, no criticism, but a public service announcement to say that if you do not have at least three copies of your data, at least two physically distinct locations, and you have not verified those backups, you just have a wish. You don't have a backup.
hmm
Minimum of three uh, in three different locations, and you've tested. You don't want to find out that your backups are foobarred if when you have an oopsies.
Yep.
So
I've
so
only
be
got myself.
sure, and when you
Self.
and when you get storage, and when you get storage of something you know obviously you care about, consider, for example, getting 3x the dry space that you get, so you can have at least two copies in every patrons. Should the unfortunate happen, because unfortunately these things do happen, but if you
Yeah.
and be sure that your backups are restorable. That's another thing. You should practice, very site
Well, in
verify.
the
You should
grand
practice
scheme of things,
restoring your loan.
I didn't lose that much. All my personal files were saved. I got back all my apps that were important. I'm sure there are one or two that I lost that I can't think are all that useful right now. I've logged back into all my accounts. Everything is running as smoothly as can be. It seems that the only thing I lost was my slobs file, and even then, not all of it, because a lot of the icons are still there. And thank Christ, so were my stream keys. So I
Oh,
didn't
and
have to go.
I wasn't trying to imply you had done anything. I'm just saying the
No,
general
no,
rule.
I do. I'm the one at fault here because it could have taken me just like 5 or 10 minutes to put one or two important files onto my phone, for example, and just
Yeah.
had them
No,
stay
I'm
there.
sorry. No, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry.
Damn, the Canadians
You're
are infecting us.
Canadian than me right now.
Sorry. Now you have to say sorry to
Sorry.
trademark Canada, right? It's sorry to
Sorry.
Canada.
Sorry.
All right,
Yeah.
Unless you're Canadian, which case you own the trademark.
let's do the show, and then let's get on with it. Tonight, if you are so inclined, please like, share, and subscribe. Check out the links down in the doobly-doo, where you
Click that
can,
little.
yeah, the thumbsy upsies. Oh, there you go. There you go. Little thumbs up. Um, and if you are so, see, Landon's even showing you how to do it. It's not that complicated.
Yeah.
And if you are so inclined, check out the links down below where you will find a link to Krendar's One and All and all of my stuff. And if you are so inclined to give money, we have ourselves a stream goal. It's all going towards, well, it's not all going towards Crandar. I'll get his piece, but the rest of it is going towards the American trip in September. So that is that. That is the gist of it. Oh,
Yeah.
and on Monday
Speaking,
we have
yes.
the watch party. We're gonna watch some South Park. Ooh, that's on the Discord.
Speaking of the trip, by the way, I
A
just
new
got
a
my
new episode
renewed
or an old episode?
Hold
I
on.
just got my renewed passport came back in, so
Oh,
I'm ready to start booking stuff.
well, I'm getting everything on my end sorted first, like paying off the rent in advance and paying off the bills in advance. We
I
got.
thought you booked your stuff already.
I booked my flight. I haven't booked off the. I've also booked off the apartment. I haven't paid it off yet. Uh,
Uh,
so, but it's set at that price now. So I'm fine. I just need to get everything else sorted first, so nothing can blindside me after I start saving up.
yeah.
That's also another reason why I'm not drinking after. I wouldn't have even drank this month, but I had a bottle of JD. So, and I guess my tolerance is dropping because that one bottle of JD did me fine. So maybe it's a sign that I'm allowed to actually drink like a normal human being instead of like a fish. Maybe it's time I can start like saving a little bit of money. We'll find out if I can survive till August, then you know, yeah, that'll be good. Uh,
I'm
but
I'm drinking an basic hibiscus iced tea,
oh,
lemonade.
not a fan of
It's
hibiscus.
Fancy.
suitable for 30 Celsius. So
All
Listen,
right,
I'm drinking the fanciest thing out of all of us. I've got Pepsi.
you tool, you shill,
I know
you
I'm so
black.
bougie.
so you're a Pepsi fan as opposed to the alternative.
The superior, say, call it what it is, the superior.
It depends, actually. If I'm out at a restaurant, I like Coke Zero with a meal. But if I'm just lounging around at home, then I prefer Diet Pepsi just as a sip and drink. Or tea or coffee or something. I rotate.
I got some bubbling crude right here in the form of instant coffee from
Hmm.
Maxwell House. It's passable and smells nice and is full of caffeine.
Yeah, actually, we have Tim Hortons sells their own instant coffee in the grocery store now, and it's pretty good actually.
As far as instant
The,
coffee
the,
goes.
I mean,
No, I
the,
mean like, it compares. Like if I go into into an actual Tim Hortons and buy a cup of coffee that they're brewing like with their actual bean, it's almost identical to the instant.
I can imagine some of the things that this is due to what Burger King has done to Tim Hortons. Some of them are just perfect. There are still some quasi-independent Tim Hortons. You have to know which one to go to in order to get a better deal. Um,
Hmm.
that's a that is a that's a thing. That,
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I've had different instant coffees, and a lot of them are kind of crap, but the Tim Hortons one is actually pretty good.
The one
yeah.
Tesco
I
makes
know.
tastes like chalk. It's disgusting,
Yeah,
but it's so cheap. You get like
I,
a
no,
massive bottle jar of it for like €2.
it's what you pay for, eh?
Yeah,
no,
you
but,
go in
but,
what you're getting.
What's
I'd
up,
say, but a
Landon?
double double is actually a double double is actually pretty good as far as concentrations of stuff and
Yeah,
flavor stuff. And there are some places where double double is actually a bit better. I don't think they change the coffee more often, or they use a different source than the corporate source.
they're probably changing it
Mm.
more often. That's probably what it is.
Uh, I,
It certainly is. That how often you clean your machine is a key.
That too. Yeah.
I'm my house is under plan out and about. But in the house we're gonna have a coffee bar with a real barista
Oh,
class
nice.
machine for cafe, so I can pull shots
That
of
sounds nice.
espresso in a you know not robotic. It's not a robotic machine. You have to do it yourself, and so it means you're able to produce pull a shot that sucks if you don't do it well, but if you do it well, it's a thing of pleasure.
Nice.
all right.
I'll have a cup.
Well, how about we get into some content for the evening?
Yes,
Oh,
there's
this
been a very
content
patient
is
Cybertruck waiting for us here.
Yeah, which is I'm surprised it's not on fire right now.
I mean, the only reason it's not on fire is because it's in a lake.
The
Do you think they're trying
wade
to show
mode.
hey, look, I can drive in the water because I got a Cybertruck.
Yeah, apparently.
ooh,
He didn't worry too much about the experiment and drove the 3-ton vehicle straight into the lake.
Yeah.
Wade mode is a function designed for wading deep water up to 81 centimeters.
this is this is not designed. Given that you're not supposed to wash wet in the sun is
Wait, what does that do to them?
I don't know. I just it's just some of the owners online have reported that that Tesla is telling them, um, don't wash it in the sun.
Yes.
Don't ask why.
Bird shit also dissolves it, and apparently even some form of cleaning supplies can start dissolving the metal. It's
That's sad.
it's that everyone always loves the DeLorean because of Back to the Future. Few people have actually driven it, and fewer remember just how shite the car was. It was a disaster. It was
It looked cool though.
that's the general gist of it. But I will take a DeLorean any day of the week over a Cybertruck. Like at
God,
least
how do you manage to make a truck so sad that you can break it by washing it?
right. Pigeons can destroy it. Oh, somebody also in the ultimate divorce dad energy move, Someone took their Cybertruck and strapped a 50 cal to the back.
Wow.
The Cyber Technical. It's it it's it's so funny because like I want to see Russian like alt-right, like far alt-right, like skinheads in like Ukraine try to attack a Ukrainian position with some of those fuckers. I want to
Yeah.
see them because like the little GoPro drones will just fly overhead and drop like tiny little
But
bombs on them and blow them up,
all Ukraine would have to do is to throw baseballs at it
right?
and be done.
This just reminds me of the glorious goof they put into that Satisfactory game where you can essentially get a Cybertruck within Satisfactory, and even the tires on it are pixelated.
Yeah.
They're just like
Yes. Well,
polygon tires or something, and it drives like you would. I think the tires are actually squares, and it drives like it
according to
has squares for tires. Like it just goes bump, 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 bump.
but according to South Park, that's what Canadian cars are like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, anyway,
Maybe it's just a copy
this
of the
also
games
is
like
to
that
say,
because it detected them in Canada.
I think also with regards to the Australian expression, "Don't be a Tesla." So that's my advice: don't be a
Yes.
Tesla.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Here's an actual piece of cool tech, but also hardcore capitalism. It's the Hello Kitty train from Japan.
But where's the 50 cal
Mm.
on it?
Train is pink because it's the
Oh,
Hello
it's
Kitty
blushing.
train. There's a place for kids to get their photo taken with Hello Kitty next to the Hello Kitty luggage racks. You can look out of the Hello Kitty windows by the Hello Kitty theater. There's a Hello Kitty toilet and a Hello Kitty sink. There was a Hello Kitty train smoking
Hello
room,
Kitty
but it was
toilet.
closed in March 2024.
Yeah, I wanted to do like a bong hit in the Hello Kitty smoking room. That would be brilliant.
That would be very
There's a
good.
shop on board where you can buy Hello Kitty merchandise, like Hello
Aw, the
Kitty
little
Shinkansen water
conductors.
bottles that are only 4 times as much as any other bottle of water. The carriages
I
themselves
would
are
have.
Hello Kitty
I would
themed,
have been shocked if there wasn't a merch store on this
with
train.
decorated aisleways and Hello Kitty seats, and they're labeled just in case you somehow forgot what train you're on. There's only one Hello Kitty Shinkansen and it runs on the Kodama service like any other train. There's no extra cost, and
I
I
think it's
wasn't
basically a
even
big
completely
dagger.
certain that I had booked the right one until it showed up, because I just booked it by its train number. But I'm glad I did because this train was a lot of fun. Tap the link in the bottom
There's
left
the
to see
Pikachu
more
train.
crazy Japanese trains.
That might be a few too many Pikachus.
Maybe a few. Like I kind of want there to be more than just a Pikachu train. Like a Snorlax train needs to have a sleeping car. Like
Yes.
that's just
No, it's nothing but sleeping cars.
um.
So
Uh,
anybody that says America is too capitalistic has not seen some of the shit Japan gets up to.
all right, with Elf King, we were watching. You know that guy who goes around Japan, looking at like really interesting food and restaurants that we watch
Mhm,
sometimes.
mhm.
He has three videos, and one of which was him going to the far side of Japan for a collection, like a street that had nothing but noodle stores, and
Ooh.
he showed inside the airport, the local airport he got on. It was do you know that anime character who's like the girl with the giant pigtails who's meant to be like a musician?
Nope.
Hikamaru or something. She's there's merch of her everywhere. Well, there's an entire tier of the airport that's dedicated to her like a museum. It's just
That's
wall to wall merch and wall to
weird.
wall figurines, thousands of them, and like a whole lifestyle size figurine of her that welcomes you as you enter. And this is in an airport. They
Japan
had
has a real idol worship problem, don't they?
yeah, and God help you if you're an actual human being idol, because you can't, for example, say that you're in a relationship. They will send you death
Right.
threats and start petitions to have you arrested for lying to them. Also,
I think
you
the saddest thing about It's the fact that I take that statement at face value and believe it entirely. I have no hesitation in believing any of this.
Oh God, it's so bad. And they don't even make that much
You
money.
know, and it is the land of toilet bidets that are expensive enough that we need to take out a loan in order to buy them. But on the other hand, some of them are quite sweet. If you've ever tried some of those premier high-end Japanese toilets.
Um, so much for the Pikachu train. I guess we can move on.
Oh,
Great channel.
there are there are people who one of the problems is they've been having is people installing malware on the toilet to do things that are untoward
Oh
or
yeah,
My.
yes, I heard about
unfortunate.
that. Because for some reason, some of the toilets have cameras installed. Why? What benefit, except for in a sexual way, would people have to have the cameras installed? Like it's
Fuck sickos.
fuck shit. Oh.
And you know that because these toilets have firmware updates with features that do things.
Look
This
how
sounds like
vague
some
you're.
bidet stuff to me.
Look how vague you're keeping it. You know,
Yes.
things in places. Speaking
And then
of anuses, let's
oh,
look at the
go
British
ahead, go
election.
ahead. So what did
Beautiful.
the former United Kingdom had an election?
Hey, I wonder who
Oh.
won.
Technically, no one because Labour. I will say this: Labour is not the worst, but it has gone increasingly more centre to appeal to a broader audience. It's also been cut and ties with its more socialist background because it used to be
Which one's
the Union. It used to be the Union party. If you wanted to fight for
Yeah,
workers' rights, you'd side with Labour.
which one
But
is the Tories again?
the Blue,
the
they were the
Tories are
one.
the conservatives.
Hmm.
They're
Yeah, the
yeah
Conservatives and the
Oh, so that's why
they're the
everybody hates
blue.
them. Okay.
Yeah, they ran for 16 years since Blair left. They're the ones that got Britain into Brexit. They're the ones that the current financial crisis is going on. They're the ones that have been defunding the NHS, and
Hmm.
it got so bad that in this election I didn't see a single positive Conservative ad. What I saw was
Yeah,
the Labour is coming for you. You can't stop it.
Labor is worse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they're
Um,
literally saying like we might lose, but you'll miss us, you know, like
Hmm.
no, buddy, no, mate, we won't.
and it is the amount of scandals coming up was extraordinary. I did a listing from one of my friends, one of my good friends, a comic, she's a comic up in Edinburgh region, and on a unnamed tavern show, and I spent 40 minutes just naming the names of the scandal and the year, and I didn't catch all of it. At some point, I said, That's enough. It's enough." It is extraordinary just how bad the Tories are, and the Tories' response is, "We weren't Tory enough, so we've got to be more Tory."
Well, they're doing
That sounds
that
about right.
only because Reform, Nigel Farage's party, the one that used to be UKIP and now it's Reform. The It's been taking away the right wing votes because the right wing, like in America, like all over the world, now just wants to be a bunch of screaming lunatics because of people like Trump and Putin and what's going on in France. And there's no point having this old school sort of relaxed, sort of stuffy, going to church on Sunday in your best suit sort of idea of a conservative. Now it's screaming about like the Jews and the Muslims and brown people and all the queers who want to do things to your kids, even though it's always Christian like pastors who get arrested for child stuff.
The,
It's
the, the number of Tories in their government that were convicted of doing insert bad things
no
to
no
children,
stuff. Yeah.
convicted of it, is extraordinary, and yet they try to push these culture wars to say, we got to protect the children,
Protect
and
from the
they
gays, protect from
tend to
the
be the
trans.
ones. They tend to be the ones that tend to do it. And the problem, of course, is in the former United Kingdom, the press is bought and paid for by of course the
Well, the BBC
Conservatives.
Tory.
and BBC and the Guardian are the two big conservative mouthpieces. I don't remember which is the more leftist progressive one, but like when the Sun does a hit piece on the royal family, you know that you've fallen pretty far in having a balanced thing. Like
Hmm.
uh, in between like the one of the Kardashians getting an ass job
Yeah.
is like, oh, and also fuck the royal family. Like,
Yeah.
really, this is
But
our
the
best
daily
warriors going
daily
up against the conservatives, is it?
the daily Tory graph and the Tory Times and the Tory Fatal, so forth. It is a Murdoch onslaught of stuff.
And has been since
And
Thatcher. Um, but but on top of that, though, there is a lot of side hustle in this as well, because, like I said, despite the fact that Labour did really well. They didn't do it so much in the votes, just in the seats, and Reform got way more than is healthy. But it's not all doom and gloom. The Liberal Democrats did really well. The Green Party did as well as Reform did. I'm sure you're happy with this, Landon. The Scottish National Party did pretty well, and the Welsh, and the Irish.
I
Sinn
would
Féin did amazing.
say, but on the other hand, for the sake of Scottish independence, um, the Labour is a bunch of unionists,
Yes.
and so Rod is actually now majority Union Jack people, and it will probably take another election cycle or two. On the other hand, to be fair, the SNP were out for welcome, much like the Tories did, and SNP was punished severely for it. If you look, this isn't talk about the loss, right? If you look at the loss in games of this thing, it is there was a tremendous loss at
Yeah.
SNP.
Hold on.
Um,
Go,
as far as
go back up for a
efficiency,
second.
right?
Yeah. No, I just wanted to. I was just curious. A couple things on this chart here. Like, first of all, why didn't more people vote for plaid? I would have
Well,
voted for
Well,
plaid.
that's
the
the Welsh
Tories,
one. That's the Welsh party.
yeah, the
So
Tories were wiped out
entirely in Wales.
Wales, right?
Yep, there are
Yeah,
Yeah.
no
Also,
more.
it's in the
where's all the
Cornwall.
votes for UKIP?
UKIP is Reform.
Well, that's reform,
Okay,
They rebranded.
or
that's
it's
probably a good idea.
RFUK, RFUK. You can
And
you can
then
decide what that actually means.
we got
But it's Nigel, who is a
yeah,
waste.
it's
Nigel
all just
Farage is a
Nigel.
waste of a good milkshake.
Don't forget though that Sinn Féin did really, really well. That's up north, and they already had a
Oh
pretty
yeah,
strong
crushed it.
power. Most of the south of Northern Ireland is that along the border is now completely green and completely, including the first minister of Northern Ireland themselves is
So who
now
are they?
Sinn Féin was once upon a time the IRA party, the ones that want
They're
the
the
reform.
abstitionists.
Yeah,
Abstitionists.
they want to join us
So
up with us. They want to
because
stop Northern Ireland being
Westminster
Northern
makes
Ireland. You know.
it makes Westminster makes every member of Parliament swear on a Bible oath to King Deer, and Sinn Féin won't do it. So they get elected and don't show up.
Well, they don't have to
Yeah,
they don't have to do it over in Westminster because they can do it up in Stormont. Um, here's a better one. Oh, Labour did really well, but the SNP did well too. So,
I mean,
but
I'm sorry.
they did
SNP is
lose.
down. No, SNP did poorly. They were down 39.
Yeah, they did.
They're
They
down
got
39, and so that's in Scotland. That basically because 36 were picked up by Labour, and then Lib Dems picked up another 4, and the one Conservative got his got his arse kicked. He did a chicken run to what he thought was a safe seat, and
Yeah.
the Scots basically Victoria.
Welsh did not want the Conservatives.
No.
They just lost
And,
it.
Yeah,
and you know,
Labor kind of steamrolled
if
this thing, didn't
you
they?
Labour's always been
if
very
you have
strong.
I mean, everywhere,
if you have
though.
London, they never really had strength in the south of England because that's where
Yeah.
all the Yuppies and the Tories lived.
if
But
you watch the
Hold on.
tragedy
here,
that
Yeah.
if you watch the tragedy that is the questions, the primary questions, whenever someone from the Welsh Party would stand up and say anything, ask the government anything, the Tory response is, well, you know, Labour is running Scotland and Labour is running, no, Labour is running Wales, and therefore Wales is screwed up. And all the
yeah,
responses,
they're
Labour
always
would
going
be
to blame. Yeah, they always blame Labour for Wales. But of course, the Welsh Parliament is the weakest of all the parliaments, and that means they can't pass anything without Westminster. And for the past decade and
yeah,
change, it's been the Conservatives who ran Westminster, so they can't blame Labour for anything because Labour would have
yeah.
to go
And
through Westminster.
even the so-called dissolved powers for Scotland, it's dissolved powers as long as Westminster doesn't get their onions up up their
Yeah,
rear.
of course.
Because if Scots actually do something that would offend the party of the
Westminster.
kingdom,
Yeah, it's
well,
not the same
they
thing.
would,
It's the same in Stormont, like up in Belfast, that
yeah,
they don't have
yeah.
hell. They've been in deadlock for years now. The building only recently reopened, but that's the same principle. Like they when they put forward ideas, they have to go to through Westminster. And why would Westminster vote to let Northern Ireland leave when it would weaken the British, so they would just
I don't,
leave
you
it.
know,
They'd be like, why would
I
we
know
do that?
there certainly is a number of people in Westminster that are just tired of the whole Northern Ireland thing and wish they would go away, right?
Well, that's what
That
Good
that in
Friday
fact
was
even
all
the
about.
name,
Blair was like that.
yeah.
Blair wanted to go.
Well, but you could sort of pretend the Good Friday Agreement is that you could pretend whether you were in Republic of Ireland or in that other country, and with Brexit it got screwed up. So they actually have to build a trade barrier on the in the
It
Irish
ain't.
Sea.
I'm right on the border, right? It ain't no barrier. You can just cross over there like that. Trucks pass up and down every morning. In fact, in about 4 hours, I'm gonna hear the rattle of an old truck bringing stuff to and from places like Enniskillen and the like.
And in part because goods coming over from, let's say, England or Wales, Scotland have to go through is it for EU or is it for not for EU stuff, right?
Mm.
Because that's essentially the processing. The Brexit screw up is in the sea, not on land.
But then,
And
of
it's
course, the
hard.
products, if they want to get to or from the UK, have to actively cross the Irish Sea.
Yeah.
So it's screwed up either way. But of course, we're talking about this. We might as well show it. Here's what it looked like in 2019, and here's what it looked like in 2024. Um, Sinn Féin is doing pretty fucking great. And best of all, the founder of the DUP, the super Protestant
Yeah.
conservative one, Paisley, his son,
Yeah.
the heartbed of their whole party, he lost it. Like,
Yes.
so there's, I don't know, I think he lost it, was it to the TUV? Um,
Yes.
but yeah, you can see there this, and best of all, like even the head of the Northern Ireland government now is Sinn Féin, and Sinn Féin
Yeah.
was doing pretty well in the south here, but our election was heavily focused on the immigrants coming in from Ukraine, and the Sinn Féin kind of had a sort of wishy-washy thing to it, and they lost a lot of power in the south over that.
Yeah. It is a thing. It is a situation where I think eventually they just have to let Northern Ireland join the EU. So that
Uh
would make the most natural sense.
oh
And then just tell those unionists, if you like it
no,
so much,
it
regular.
it's not really that. I think that it'll come down to a plebiscite, and it could go definitely for them to join us, but they need to see the benefits of living with us. And frankly, we don't know if we want the North, and the North doesn't know if it wants the South. But more importantly, the North is big enough that there is a strong call for it to be its own country.
Yes, and I
And
think that's a
if it seceded and became its own country, it would, for starters, become a giant tax haven. That would be one of the few things it could really do, would just become this giant tax haven. And it would also be probably heavily sort of like divided down like ethnic lines. And most likely the people calling for that would be the hardcore Protestants. And I don't know if that is
sure, but I mean, that's what
what I
it's sort of
want.
implying is that you know if we've got to acknowledge that it's now the former United Kingdom and just let Northern Ireland go its own separate way. It can be its own entity and choose to be in the EU or not, but let the people in Northern Ireland. The problem is, this particularly the DUP does not want a democratic election. They know that the demographics are against them, and
And it's getting
therefore it's one
worse
of those
too.
cases where and then they say they don't want an election. They don't want the people to be able to decide. It's one of the reasons why they were boycotting the Northern Assembly for so long time because they couldn't get their way. Um,
David Cameron used the DUP to break the deadlock in one of the elections by giving them seats in Westminster. And when they did that, they had tremendous power, which they used to basically just stop anything from storming from happening. Only because
mhm.
they knew that every year, frankly, that sort of politics is dying off up north. Because for one
Yep.
reason, the north is really wealthy and especially around Belfast. And that's why Game of Thrones and the like are shot there. There's a lot of money that goes in and out of Belfast, and it changes the mindset of people, including the fact that no one gives two tosses if you're Protestant or Catholic as much as they do anymore. Plus, there's another
Yep.
issue that started in the 80s. Muslims, like the rest of the UK, have a lot. There are a good amount of Muslims, probably more than anywhere else on the island, is up in Belfast, and they add a new factor into it. They haven't coalesced into their own party or a group or whatever, but now Protestants and Catholics are sometimes stopping fighting each other because it's a lot easier to turn your hate towards a bunch of brown people worshiping Allah. So it's bigotry all the way down. Because don't get me wrong, like the North is full of some of the most bigoted people who are also like supporting a good cause in like unification with the South. The IRA were sacks of shit. I don't support the IRA.
Yep.
They were
Oh
terrible.
yes. Oh yes.
Um,
They were terrorists. They were
they
well. They were the political front. Sinn Féin was a political
the
front
front of.
and pretended like they weren't IRA,
Oh,
but
Jerry
they
Adams
were.
would just say he'd have no idea. He has no comment on that after another body was found, you know?
Yeah.
Another police station gets blown up. But nowadays, it's kind of I often see this as the equivalent of what's happening in Cyprus. Because if you ask the
Mm,
people in northern Cyprus, especially the younger generation, they don't care who's going to control it. Greece, Cyprus in the south, Cyprus in the north, or Turkey. They just want it to be unified. They want all this to be over. And they're going to be
yeah.
voting in the future. And it's the same up north. Up north, there's a lot of benefits of staying in the UK, but there's also a lot of benefits in joining Ireland, and there's a lot of benefits of going their own way, but they just want something done. They just want
Yeah.
movement. And the older
And
generation
that's the
don't
same
like that.
thing.
Sometimes
You know,
I
I
really
don't.
just need
I
movement, you know?
Yeah. I
Wow.
don't think that 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 you know joining the Republic of Ireland is really a good thing, but having Northern Ireland be its own democratic institution and choosing its own way, it's independent of Westminster, I think would be a good thing.
All right. Well, we'll move away from Englandia into the magical world of Frenchaloon. Boop,
Mm.
boop, French. Um, the result may be the biggest surprise in the history of the French elections. So the first rounds of the French elections showed the really hardcore right-wing party take way more seats than they ever had in their entire history since Vichy France.
Yeah.
Which, if anyone doesn't know their history, that's the puppet one that the Nazis set up.
Yeah,
Um,
and some of the children running in this thing, their parents
are
were
Vichy.
Nazi sympathizers and collaborators,
Absolutely.
right?
Um,
And
and
or as the original founder Le Pen used to say, France was mad they didn't start World War II.
yeah. Um, so it scared everyone on the left enough that it resulted in them basically the second rounds have come in, and it is I really like an image to show like just the charts. Um,
There's a chart there.
fails to make breakthrough in Paris. Yeah, there we go. The left kind of cobbled together a large voting bloc, and
They see anyone but
then
National Front that they renamed themselves to try to pretend like they're not,
well,
radical
they're
black.
very masks off, like the ones in Italy. They're very masks off to the idea that they're fascist. But yeah, the far right National Rally Party of Marie Le Pen, that's the daughter of the founder of
Mhm.
the party, won a resounding victory in the first rounds with 33.15% of the votes in the National Assembly. The anti-immigration party, large gains in provinces, but failed to make a breakthrough in Paris. Well, Paris is so heavily full of immigrants, usually from Algeria, uh, that there'd be no chance in hell they would be able to convince Paris to go Nazi. It's kind of stupid. But uh, uh, as a result, the party got a little bit more best scores in Northern Rust Belt. You see, just like in America, and I imagine Crandar, there's a Canadian equivalent of like the Rust Belt
Yeah,
or a very rural part of Canada where the right wing has a lot of say.
I mean, probably.
Yeah, like it's
I know that the word Nazi is thrown around a lot. I understand that National Rally and National Front we're not talking conservatives. We're not talking about like Republican Party US. We're talking about people that think Hitler was a good idea. That
yeah.
they just, the people whose parents were sending people to gas chambers, right? The Vista for some of the that they people that
There never has
called
been a
the
map
SS,
for them to take off. It's always just
called the
been.
SS, and
Hmm.
how radical they are.
Mm,
So we've seen a number of elections in France where essentially it comes down to the way they do it comes down to wackos or non people that aren't the party wackos, and not the party may not be your favorite. A Chirac or Mitterrand and so forth may not be your favorite depending on your ideology, but it's always, oh, we can't have them, right? And
yeah,
so
you're
French
voting
French politics.
against somebody, and it's usually the was it the National Rally. But the thing about that is that does not. It's like what's going to happen when Biden and Trump go up against each other. People will be voting not for Biden; they'll be voting against Trump. And
Yeah,
because well, we all saw that fucking debate, and it
yeah,
was absolute dog shit.
terrible, terrible.
And
Yes,
like Trump made so many lies that like Biden could have just run circles even 4 years ago. Could have run
yes,
circles, but now he's just a dithering old man who has no idea what's going on.
yeah.
Um, uh,
Sorry.
and
But,
I just like we're in a very dangerous time because Italy already has a very pro-fascist government. A good chunk of Hungary has Orban.
Hungary.
Um,
Slovakia is going that
oh,
way.
that's right, yeah.
Um,
Uh,
and
we
but
saw
I mean,
that coup in that coup attempt in Bolivia. with the general against the leftist government there. I mean, that was that was hilarious how bad that was. But it was still showing that there are people, and of course, January 6th, can't forget that. Um, we are in a very dangerous time. And it's just so strange because there are people alive today who fought the Nazis. You'd think maybe like we'd still have it in our mindsets to not support this type of politics.
Yeah. Now, I know that Marine Lapinus tries to say this is not the party of our father, even renaming it, right?
Mm,
But in fact, a having a family dispute with the founder of your party, but maintaining ideas. But she's much better at pretending she isn't quite so Nazi as some of the other people, right? What they say is, well, elect me because I'm a more moderate Nazi.
yeah,
Really.
it's
Again,
I'll only
we're not
gas
throwing on
some
that.
of the Jews, you know.
We're not throwing around that name in a tribal thing. They are really quite all right.
They'd be a
And
little bit
also
flattered.
they are the National Rally supports Putin, right?
Yes,
They admire Putin. They think
because
that
he
Putin's
funds them.
efficiency is
He
something.
funds a lot of those right-wing parties across Europe.
Yep.
Um, uh,
And so they come with all this sort of stuff. Now, France is as a country is a big defender of Ukraine, is doing a lot in putting very serious arms and munitions into Ukraine, in part because the Russian Wagner group is going to places like Niger in Africa,
yeah,
which is sort of the heart of the French uranium stores, so forth. So there's a whole France and Russia are going at each other quite a bit,
they're either
and
in Kenya or Ethiopia because of gold reserves, and they're in there for that. Because ever since that failed coup by what's his name, Lushenko, the founder of Wagner, um uh he they've been sort of sent overseas to raise money for the Russian war effort by just stealing shit from third world countries. Um, uh, and it's kind of like I almost want the old colonial militaries back in to knock them out. And France
sure,
under was Sarkozy was actually really good at
yes,
that. Whenever there would be like a coup attempt in a country, now it was always for selfish reasons, you know. Oh, the
sure,
Ivory Coast is getting a coup. The Maldives is getting a coup. That's our guy they're cooing against. Within 24 hours, there'd be like a fast strike team killing off the general in charge or extraditing their guy from the country. Happened in Haiti when Haiti's government started falling apart because it was a
sure.
former colony. And it's just, I understand that it's a part of a wider realpolitik, but I mean, it's the same thing. Like, I'm almost want America just to land troops in Ukraine and slaughter the Russians and then leave.
Yeah.
I just want them
Well,
to like
and,
do it. Like, be the global bully if you're gonna bully the right people, you know?
yeah. So Le Pen, one of the things that one of her platform things is to try and establish sort of a pecking order of how French you are, right? That
Mm,
that 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 perfection would be if you can prove your grandparents were native French, right? If you can't do that, then you're not considered. And so you'd have situations where these people could vote, these people could hold office, these people are lesser French princess. Again, to try to sort of this purity, this notion of French purity, which is again a very Nazi-esque thing. And she makes no bones about that sort of thing as being something. And yet, what these populist groups are doing is saying to the French public, things are bad in France, and the reason is them. If you elect us, we'll get rid of them. so that they won't be going after you. Just like Adolf
It's
said.
yeah, it's always this other that threatens everything. America, it's the immigrants coming in from Mexico, and it's the woke mobs. Here in Ireland, it's the Ukrainian refugees. In Britain, it's all like the people coming up from Africa and the Middle East.
Mhm.
In Russia, it's this idea of being Russified. Everyone has to speak Russian and think Russian, and there's no such thing as a Ukrainian and all that stuff. In China, everyone has to speak Han. Look what they're doing with the Uyghurs. It's this idea of like this this giant ethno state, this giant block of us. You have to be us. Maybe we can train you to be like that, but we might as well just kill you or drive you away. And
Yeah.
even like I don't know what she's gonna say here, but I
So
guarantee it with a
so
title like
so
"I will
National
control."
Rally
Yeah,
is trying to essentially ethnically cleanse France, and but they also have problems because there are parts of France like French Polynesia, actually part of France, that they would like to say, yeah, but they're not. They're lesser French, as an example. So even within their own country.
if Napoleon couldn't get rid of the Basques, I don't think Le Pen will. Um, uh, here, let's.
Looking to grow your
Oh, of course, an ad. Of course, we have an ad. Why wouldn't we have an ad?
business but don't want to compromise your budget? Busy offers the lowest prices guaranteed on.
She's the far-right nationalist candidate once again locked into a runoff battle with Emmanuel Macron. On her third presidential bid, she's risen to narrow the gap between her and the incumbent. But how exactly has the 53-year-old, once considered polarizing, made her comeback?
I will bring back France's sovereignty in all areas, which means the freedom for the French people to decide for themselves and defend their interests. I will control immigration and re-establish security for all.
The control immigration. It's so
Yeah, there's a
vague,
lot of
but you
code words
can,
there.
yeah.
A lot of code words. If you're not
Take
French
back
enough,
control of their own lives. That's a giant
yes,
fuck you to the EU because of EU's giant because all these right-wing groups. Germany has the second largest party in Germany right now is a far right organization.
yeah, yeah,
Like it's everywhere, and they all hate the EU. The exception, maybe the German parties don't hate the EU because they're the ones that benefit the most. Maybe they'd like to do the reverse and force the rest of Europe by the will of the German people, which is code words for let's start a new war in Europe, which of course, again, all financed by Putin. It's just it's fucking horrifying. It's watching a world post Cold War that could have gone in a much better way, falling apart because of basically microcosms of old bullshit that should have died off in the 40s. With the once Hitler shot himself, that should have been what did they used to say? The 20th century was three ideologies fighting for dominance: fascism, communism, and capitalism. I always hated that because it always implied that like capitalism will win out at the end of it, like liberal fat capitalism. Well, no, because look what's happening now. It's all clawing back. Everything is authoritarianism is clawing back, totalitarianism is clawing back, and it's doing it via democracy, just like in the 20s and 30s, just like
I mean,
any other time, really.
another thing I would say is that the Cold War, in my opinion, is fully on. It is. We are fully in it. A lot of people are in denial that that's happening, but the Cold War is there. And one of the sad things is that the Cold War tends to squeeze people between opposing forces, right? They rarely go at each other directly. They go through proxies, and particularly popping up group of people because they're aligned with one side. That ends up impacting those that live in that spot. Um, and the parties like like National Rally that are openly pro Putin when the Cold War goes hot, will all of a sudden pretend like they never really were supportive of Putin, right? Just like in the United States, the gentleman Putin group, the GOP, is ostensibly pro-Russian or pretending pro-Russian in order to placate the orange guy.
Yeah.
And they all also, but at some point when the Cold War gets hot in certain things, there'll be this pretending like, oh, we were never really pro-Russian, but
All
never
right.
mind. People
Here's
like
a
her
little
are.
here's a little trick I always found. If you ever hear someone talking about a third alternative, a third way, that's dog whistles and code words. Okay,
Mm.
sort of the sort of usually a gray or blue suit wearing dude, usually online, talking about like, oh, we need to support a third pillar of an alternative group made up out of all these countries, like say Yemen or like Iran and all that. You're like, okay, buddy, you just don't like America, and that's fair. But siding with China and saying that Taiwan's not a real country isn't going to bring workers' dominance to the world. It's gonna get you
And
sent to the same gulag as all your enemies.
yeah, by the way, just to make sure people are clear on my opinion, I I believe in a one China policy and a one Taiwan policy. There's a one China and there's one Taiwan, and the Fifth Army and those sycophants of Winnie the Pooh, Emperor Pooh, can just go poo themselves.
Yeah. I don't know why we keep pretending that the glorious protectorate of Western Taiwan doesn't exist. You know?
Yeah, I've been trying to encourage members of our Congress to stand up and say we should have a one China policy and a one Taiwan policy, and to formally recognize, they could do it, even though the president would want to do it, formally put commercial acts to say, we hereby recognize Taiwan as a legitimate country with its own sovereignty.
Of course it is.
And
And but
and
what can
sorry, since it's an army and your CCP sycophants and your white monkeys, I'm sorry, go, you can go F yourself with Le Pen.
right? By the way, I put you big screen now. Okay, your big mode.
Ah,
You wanted to go on a little rant. So before you do that,
yeah.
I just want to say, if you're enjoying the so far here, folks, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to check the links down below. I know it's a little ramshackle right now, but this time next week, when we have, let me just quickly check our calendar. I'll tell you who we have next week. Oh, we have a first. It'll be a J Troy Doe in the chat. We'll be making their first appearance on stream. Um, uh,
Ooh.
yeah, they've started a TikTok and it's doing pretty well. So I thought, why not? But yeah, make sure to be around for that. Don't forget about the watch party tomorrow on the Discord. And don't forget also, if you are so inclined, to throw a few schmeckles our way, a few doubloons down in the doobly doo. Big old help. Now, Landon, I did say I'd give you the floor. You can have the floor, and then once that's done, we'll go and watch something a little more lighthearted to end the evening.
And just to add a thing, folks, if you consider clicking that like button, it's free. You can also subscribe. They don't put you on the mailing list. So you're basically able to get when there's new Lender videos out. It's also free and it helps the channel out. So please consider doing that. So time. Um, I have a really dislike for common things that happen with regards to time. We live on a planet that rotates every 24 hours. We are not on a 12-hour planet. If the model of how the Earthing system is really correct, it's been at least 4 billion years since we've had a 12-hour day. It's a 24-hour day. This AM PM stuff is just stupid, right? Stop it, right? We live in a 24-hour world. Now, I recognize that there's reasons for it. Some of them go back to the Romans and the Lusitanians, although British also did stuff. But clockmakers, I'm sorry, you can build a 24-hour clock so you can see the day, and it's tired when I have to go and say, let's meet at 15, and people show up at 5 p.m. Right? They can't even do math correctly. Right? And this notion of a stupid system where 12 is the beginning, right? So if you're doing the solar maritime day, 12 p.m. is the beginning of the PMs, right? This androgen, pulse meridian stuff. Stop it, right? 24 hours, get used to it. And clockmakers, most clocks now are digital. Go and set your clocks to 24 and get on with a program, because being 4 billion years behind the times at least makes you look silly. Now, time is one of those things that's ironically, because we're talking about the British and the French, we are on an international system of the Greenwich Meridian, and it's ironic because the actual French meridian that goes through Paris has never moved. When the French set up their meridian, they have kept that meridian exactly where it is. So the British have moved around from transit around on the hill overlooking Whitehall, and a result was, they had, for example, after the Great London Fire, they had a big double problem because all the sightings of property lines within, let's say, the inner city of London turned out to be on various transit, right? That for one of the first times, square meters mattered in the inner city of London once the fire had burned it down, and so they stopped moving it after transit. In fact, it's one of the few death penalties that's still in the books traditionally. It's a traditional thing. They're not going to put him to death, but a death penalty for anyone that moves the great areas transit. Also, ironically, the Earth orientation system, the group that basically monitors to figure out where the Earth is, the spin and the axis and the wobbles, all that sort of stuff, is actually in Paris. So the actual international setting of where the Earth is established by the French knowing precisely their longitude. And by the way, if you take your GPS and you go to the Greenwich line and put your GPS on the Greenwich line, you'll find the Greenwich line is not zero. You have to go about 100 meters over to the side to find zero again for various reasons. Another thing as well is stop naming universal time after the British. If you go on to, if you use like London, say, well, okay, London or Greenwich, what's the time there? You're dealing with British summertime, where they muck with the times in summer versus winter. Even Greenwich Mean Time is under control of Westminster. UTC, which is the system that, due to argument between the British, French, and English, or the British, they came up with the notion of what UTC is. UTC is now the independent time zone, and it's a 24-hour time. There's no AM, PM stuff. So on your computer, just stop the 24-hour clock. Stop the 12-hour clock, AM, PM stuff. Use 24 hours. Use it in your daily life, and get with the times, because we're on a 24-hour day, not 12-hour day. And we've been that way for 4 billion years. Catch up, folks.
Counterpoint. How dare you?
With incredible ease, where you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
All right.
I've made my case.
But by the way, one factor that supports your argument is that these days more and more kids don't know how to read a 12-hour clock as well as they used to, because they
At all.
they look at their phones, and their phone clocks are usually on military time, 24 hour.
Are they?
So,
the military got notion that various militaries got notion that AM PM confusion was really bad, and so even though it's not military time, it's just a 24-hour clock. It goes from 0 to 359.59. Let's delete second. Let's get it 359.60. And that's the process. I do have an analog. I do have analog clocks that are 24-hour based. But
Oh, they must be
I don't.
busy. They must be very busy looking clocks.
Well, sometimes what you do, just like you do with the minute stuff, you have sort of big numbers and small numbers for the odd and even minutes, if you want to do it that way. Roman numerals also get stuff. I understand there's clockmaker traditions, but come on, folks, get with the times.
Oh,
No.
before I die, I want to see that one in Prague, the huge with like the stars in it and everything. The old medieval one. That looked really cool.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah, the Prague clock is actually a pretty impressive machinery in terms of all the details in it. Ironically, the poor fellow who built the Prague clock decided that he can make a business going to other places and building other clocks, and so the towns people or the government of Prague essentially poked his eyes out in an attempt to try to impair his ability to make the clock, which pissed him off, and he went around creating other Prague clocks elsewhere in Europe just to spite them. So, by the way, there's also beer that there is also in Italy. You can find 6-hour analog clocks for whatever reason.
all right.
I guess.
We have given you time on the topic of time.
Oh, ironic.
Yep. Well, everything's linear time, unless of course you watch that video on the psychedelic mushrooms that I posted up earlier today. That was a genuine trip in every sense of the word. Um, um, if it was a little short, I would have shown clips out of it. But yeah. Okay, let's obviously when I lost my the better part of my computer, I also lost all my bookmarks, so I don't have that much, but I've got one or two. Um, how about
Not picking
America?
up your bookmarks. How dare you?
Oh, here's from Garen, and getting more and more into our Garen music. He's a great representation of how an Irishman should be compared to me, which is just a bastardized amalgamation of 90% of the Atlantic current made manifest. I just float with the current and pick up accents and what have you. But Garen is 100% inbred.
Reported me for hate speech. What did I do? I tried to explain to Americans that there was more than one cut of bacon. And America said, no, enough. This man from a country he didn't steal from anybody must be stopped. So in retaliation, here's a list of minor grievances I have with America that don't really matter at all, just to annoy you a little bit. This product is called tin foil. It boils my fucking piss when you call it aluminum foil.
Aluminum.
This is called oregano, not fucking oregano.
Yes.
What's this season called? No. Your needless
I have to admit, sometimes I do say fall, and I'm like, no, you damn, you bastard.
complication of high school year names. Sophomore fucking year. Just say 2
October
or
is a
second.
girl's name, not a
Also,
season.
why do you go
Thank
to so
you.
many schools? Kindergarten, elementary school, middle school, junior high, high school, fucking Ivy League. You don't have to go to school in every building in the fucking town. Open a shop or something. Anyway, here's my opinion on gun control. America.
I love that dude. Oh,
I will say a word that aluminium or aluminum, I'll take both, foil is mostly made of aluminum or aluminum, depending on your pronunciation. There are other metals and plastics involved in, but it is actually it is named what it is, right? There was a time when aluminum was very expensive. It was a rare model because of before they figured out how to process it, and so tin was used as a foil material, but it's been a long time since since it's happened.
Don't
Now
matter. We
now
still
it's
call it tinfoil over here, and that's where it's gonna stay. It's gonna stay as tinfoil. Thank you very much. We are people
but
slow to change.
Na na
basic
na
is just
na na aluminum. Na na na
Nah,
na.
nah. Oh,
I don't
here's
understand the same thing with
Oh,
tin cans not being tin.
yeah,
is
there.
this the guy you talked about?
No, this
Oh
is
no, this is something else.
big nibbles.
Favourite foods of British Prime Ministers. And
Oh,
today,
this guy.
I'm making the favourite food of the newest captain
The
of this
creepy
sinking ship we
handed
call a
foot guy.
country, Keir Starmer. He's been Prime Minister for less than a day at the time of recording, so it's hard to critique his premiership at this time.
I will say one thing good about Keir Starmer. Yesterday, he cancelled that stupid Rwanda transfer of immigrants scheme.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They just ended it, which is great because you can see footage of like the woman who went out of her way to make it happen, and she looks so pissed off. Oh, baby, honey, piss off.
Cru-
Mm.
Cru- Corella Brovman, which sadly enough, I believe she got she won her seat again. But
Well, that's even better.
Billy
That means she
Nigel
gets to
winning.
yeah, she gets to go to office and see all her plans just be thrown into a big furnace. All those racist plans to throw away people to send them off to a country that doesn't want them, can't afford them, and probably would get them killed because it's sometimes an active war zone. Uh, um, uh,
But
oh, it cost
Nigel in it,
Britain
and,
678 million, I believe, that scheme.
yes,
Um,
and they sent zero, and they could only send like 300 a year, but
yep,
Rwanda sold most of the houses they were going to stick in, so who knows? But yeah, Nigel and his crew of just 5 idiots are going to probably will be are now members of parliament, and it'll be only a matter of time before the speaker throws them out for misbehavior,
absolutely.
assuming they ever show up.
Or you know what will happen? Like they'll start like trying to promote ideas that are like too far right or too stupid for anyone to support them, and because you can't pass something in the house without having a consensus, they're just gonna instead become a deadlock party. No, because you're not supporting my idea to shoot all the brown people, so I'm not gonna vote for this healthcare bill. Nah. Like that's what's going to be happening. There's just going to be another speed bump in a house famous for being full of speed bumps. So it's just in that regard they have a long tradition that they're living up to. So there's that at least.
But considering how
Absolutely.
well he scrubbed Labour clean of any want for radical positive change, I don't expect the future to look any less grim. But he will be reminding you for the next 5 years that his mum was a nurse and his dad was a tool maker. Like your parents having normal
Toolmaker, yes.
jobs is a badge of working class pride. But what makes watered down Blair's favourite meal? Apparently, it's a main course of curried salmon, served with rice and a side of dal, which isn't a bad choice personally,
Sounds
but
nice.
apparently his starter to this meal would be a seaweed salad, which sounds like a lie to me, but to give him credit, he is a British MP, so lying and going
I
back
want a
on
seaweed
promises
salad.
is
Seaweed's
in
delicious.
his blood. I'm
Yeah, but
making
I
the
can't
favourite...
imagine him actually eating a seaweed salad. But he says he's British.
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
I would.
I like his one on. Let me see if I can find his one on Farage. He did move on us.
Some
Okay, that's interesting.
there's some English food that's actually edible.
Oh,
I don't
absolutely.
know
Like it.
Yeah.
Here we
Not
go.
much, but
Reform
some.
Party. Ugh. This is the Nigel Farage sandwich.
favourite
Wait,
dishes
isn't
for
there milk-
British
shouldn't
political
Should there be a
parties.
milkshake involved?
And today, I'm making
They'll bring it up.
reforms. White bean in white sauce on a white bread roll. Because the supporters of reform all think white is right, this dish is perfect. It lacks any interesting colour or flavour, other than one stinky pungent one that reform seems to really like for some reason. It's the dream meal of the average reform voter / edgy Shadow the Hedgehog fan. Find the whitest bean you can find, ignoring the fact that this most likely made its way here in a boat, and then make a thick, heavy, creamy cheesy sauce, because nothing says stuck in the past like a sauce that's all fat and no substance. Serve this on a plain
How much
white
of that came
plate
from the EU?
and enjoy it in silence,
Exactly.
preferably while reminiscing about the good old days without any flavour.
Oh,
It tastes like... I'm making the favourite...
Yeah, that's
Well
like
done.
the first time I've ever seen him spit a meal out, other than going, "It's all right," or "It's not very good." This one's like, "Bleh." I don't blame him. I eat butter beans. They can be lovely, but I mean, Jesus Christ, you need a spice to bring them out. They're Christ. I wouldn't add cheese to it. I normally add cheese to a lot of things.
Spice that up with some mayonnaise.
Yeah. Oh, that would be too spicy.
But there are people in Britain whose concept of vegetables is to boil the hell out of it.
Oh.
In part because their parents during ration times were lucky to get a vegetable, or something which is super old, and so the way you dealt with a well past the prime is to boil the hell of it, and some people became quite comfortable and familiar with essentially tasteless vegetables. Not everyone,
Mm.
not all people.
It's true.
We
but there are
did
some
look
that
at this. Ooh. Do you want to watch it? It's 12 minutes long. We can speed
It's
them up.
food
a bit.
related. Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
we'll speed them up.
Okay. Yeah.
So maybe skip into when it starts proper.
Yeah.
You know.
We'll bump it up to 1.25. And then we'll find some Daled Dose after this.
And don't forget Dylan Hollis.
Oh, yeah. Actually, you know what? Before we
We'll
watch Tobes, we'll watch Dylan.
There you go.
Huh?
I haven't seen this new one yet, so I figured we'd just do it today.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't watched this guy in a long while. Ooh, nice car.
Oh, I wasn't expecting it to be car related.
All right, Charleston Shoes and
The pros and cons of one of the largest, most absurd American cars in history, the 78 Continental Mark V. The styling. This car is low. It is long. She has a massive hood, functional fender louvers, and a faux tire hump. It is insane. Despite its size, the Mark V has the nerve to only have 2 doors and back
he lives on fucking Bermuda. How the hell did he get that thing shipped out to him?
seat space
Those
is
fucking
laughable.
legs.
Up front, though, these seats are the most comfortable I've ever sat in, and I don't just mean in the
Human
car.
stilts.
They are 8-way power couches and can seat 3 across. The car itself is almost too big to park, though, and to show you some context, here the front of my car is in line with a full-sized Grand Cherokee, but where the SUV ends is where I'm sat, with still half of my car behind me. Driving it, you will notice that the ride is peak, and nothing floats better than Mark V's. Just don't try to turn, lest you slide out of the passenger seat and into Kansas. You do get a giant and simple 6.6-liter V8. It just makes 150 horsepower and gets 7 miles to the gallon. But hey, you get a Cartier clock and some nice gauges, just no cup holders at all, if you can live with that. The pros...
How American.
It is pretty.
Very, very American way to wrap that up. Like, if you can live without cup holders.
Right.
It beats a Cybertruck.
Oh, that's a low bar, though. A Lada. It beats a Lada.
Charleston Chewies from 69. Straight from the South Carolina low country, this recipe looks like a heart attack. First, we melt some butter. How much? A cup. Whole cup. Woo, you coming? Woo! What do y'all like in the South? Butter. Anything else? Butter. Okay. Butter. Is it just butter? 2 cups of brown sugar. 2 cups of flour. Pinch of salt. And a 1/4 teaspoon of flute powder. It's tiny. Get it. Don't confuse this with the Charleston Chew, which is a candy bar for people with good taste. Nor is this the Charleston, which was a TikTok dance before TikTok. Ask your grandfather's grandfather about it. Actually, don't. You have to dig him up. He'd be kind
Definitely
of
candy bar for people
2
with good
cups of
taste.
pecans. I used to say pecans before I was bludgeoned with a shoe in New Orleans, Louisiana. I now say pecan. Into a 9x9. What? Too much. Rub flat. Rub? I don't want to rub anything. Whose grandma's out rubbing stuff? $3.50 for 45 minutes. Wow. Crispy on the
Grandmas are
outside.
well
Looks
known
to be
for
fudgy on the inside. Man and ever. It's a cracking recipe is what this is. It's so good it's in danger of becoming my...
His hair has more volume than his neck.
His legs.
He's so strong. He's like an 80s dystopian supervillain. Like, he should be played by fucking Sting or someone.
Yeah, does he like never have dinner or something? Like, how is he this skinny when he's baking shit all the time?
His eyebrows should be like leading him over due to their size. Like, what the fuck?
My dinner. Charleston Chewies.
He is strong twink energy going on here.
Absolutely.
And we
Also,
love him for it.
I don't know why the boys is so hard on Charleston Chew. That is an amazing candy bar.
I thought it was the Almond Joy they were ripping it apart.
There was 3 of them. Almond Joy and Charleston Chew and something else.
I was talking with Elf about that. Hell of a show. I'm caught up now.
I'm 2 episodes behind. I'm gonna watch one after this. Although I have been trying to fill in the time waiting for them to finish season 4 by watching Outer Range, as I mentioned before, but I think I'm falling off of Outer Range. I've watched half of season 1 and it's just going nowhere.
Oh, this person. You subjected me to this.
Very
character
good use
the
of
last
term subject. Yes.
Our fault.
Yeah.
We apologize.
We
But we're doing
lashed
it
you
again
to
anyway.
him like a stinking, like he was the siren, and we have to lash you to the front of the boat. You know.
Save you from him, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cobes. We watched some of Cobes's cooking and recently, and he made some. As always, he made some choice stuff. In this case, it was a whole lot of cream cheese. He was trying to make pinwheels, and he actually ended up. I watched him cut it up, and they weren't the worst. But he used after that video, he used more Philadelphia. There wasn't enough
course he did.
Philadelphia in that tub of Philadelphia that he devoured. But I don't know what
It
he's
is
making.
delicious.
I know. I mean, where did oh
We got a 4th of July food review.
Right
Put
there.
up YouTube, so we got some white.
Right into the camera lens.
is
Let's get that light
behind
right
him.
going on there.
I think that's the 4th of July fireworks show happening behind him.
Is that the Astronomicon? What the fuck?
I see the light of the Emperor.
What do we got in the first container? Let's pop it open.
Is this takeout? He's not cooking it himself?
He'll
yeah,
probably
it's a
do
food
something
review.
to it himself.
He might merge it.
Chicken tenders.
It's takeout, but he'll probably ruin it somehow.
Second container, what do we got? Garlic bread with the cheese and the sauce.
Okay.
What do you say? The other thing was shrimp?
Chicken tenders, but they don't look all that tender to me.
It smells heavenly. In
No.
the
Do you know how easy
got
it is
the
to make
tiniest.
decent garlic bread and some nice sauce?
Oh, it's so I do love making me some garlic butter. It's such a versatile thing.
Oh, here's the thing, Lev. I'll tell you right now, chicken tenders are not known for being tender, despite the name.
What?
It's a common thing.
I don't know. Well, hold on. We are just so clear. Do you have a distinction between them and goujons?
What the fuck is that?
Landon, do you know what a goujon is?
I do not. I'm sorry. Trademark Canada.
You made that up, sir.
It is, despite its horribly French name, no, they're quite common over here. They are just long strips of chicken meat that is very tender and fried and breaded. It's
Basically the same thing. Then it sounds like.
Yeah, but we just call them goujons sometimes, not always. But I often see them as like starters. Chicken goujon with a little bit of chips, and then you can get a main meal, and especially in pubs, pub grub. Probably lived 40% of my 20s.
Over here, at least, anyway, chicken tenders is just what you call chicken fingers when you don't want them to sound like children's food.
Order these chicken fingers. You get like 3 of them when they dash them. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's chicken fingers for adults.
Got ourselves a tender.
Or chicken strips sometimes. All the same thing.
They're all deadly. Now here's the thing. He might not do anything.
Not that sugary.
He's not. He might not do anything to the food, but what he'll do is he'll eat it in a very visceral way that might as well just be ruining it. So.
I did let the food get cold.
Thankfully we can't see how he's eating it today.
But I don't care.
Yeah, he's just a menacing silhouette. But I can tell it'll be extra slop today.
These chicken fingers are good. The in-house ranch.
I don't know where he said he got it from.
Probably somewhere local only. I don't know. We may not have heard of it before.
Those chicken tenders are delicious.
Cool.
The food's cold when it sits, but that's my own damn fault. And got some of that marinara sauce. Crack it open.
Okay.
And got ourselves a piece of this garlic bread with the cheese.
That's a good dollop of cheese there.
On the top.
I'm guessing he got it from some place that's like a pizza joint or some Italian place in general. Then.
Yeah, I'm getting a deli vibe.
What type of cheese would you put on garlic bread?
Classic.
Something white and goopy.
But you can also get two-tone stuff for like a.
Maybe like a.
Going with it. Go ahead.
Maybe like an orange, yellow, and white cheddar blend.
Yeah, that could be good. So long as it spreads out nice and evenly. Hell, the orange would.
Or mozzarella, yeah. Mozzarella will be your white and gooey option.
For the bread though, I would say a flatbread would have been better for that. Something like a pita or even a naan. Something obviously like just a plain naan because you wouldn't want to do it. Though I've drizzled like garlic butter onto like naan bread. Spicy.
Yeah.
That's not terrible.
With a little butter chicken sauce for dipping.
Yeah. Yeah, but use fresh garlic. Don't get that powder that's been desiccated.
Garlic.
Use
As of late, I have been getting into this conversation. Which you can thank Mango for introducing me to that. But I have been. She is very anti-garlic. Very anti-garlic. But I've got two types in my cupboard right now. They're useful. They last.
I think the ones that are like pre-minced and all goopy in the jar are good.
Yeah, like
those
Elf
ones.
was saying that take your jar, get like the ones you keep in your fridge to keep fresher. Those ones are okay, but if I had the money, I would do it more often on the I would do more fresh stuff. Thing is, I don't have the money, and my diet is mostly now consisting of, with exception of today, because it was quite the windfall with all the food I got, is tuna and rice, and that doesn't do too well with garlic. So,
no. But you got to do a little bit of there, but you don't want to overdo it.
If you keep it subtle, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not against a hint of it, but as Elf pointed out, get some onion in there, and I'm like, maybe I could maybe onion.
Even shallots.
Ooh, now shallots. Yeah, maybe that could be good.
Real shallots, not pretend shallots.
Like it's not. The grease on the garlic bread is
smart thing I do have is lemon drizzle in there, so every bowl that I make has because the tuna will really bring
into his light, him being backlit and eating someone else's food and making food noises. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, you know what? This one I don't think will bring that much uniqueness because he is eating someone else's food, and also the camera shot is just quite unpleasant to my eyes. So
yeah,
we'll
daily dose it up.
Yeah, let's daily dose it up.
And it's right there. How convenient.
Ain't it?
He was waiting for us.
Incredibly offended. Okay, we got to start with this.
Hello everyone, this is your daily dose of internet. Keith.
Oh, it's still super fast, so let me lower it. You, sir, can go at your own pace.
This guy was homeless.
How long you been out here and how you get like this?
I'm good.
You wanna do drugs?
No.
So why you sitting on the ground?
I'm waiting for the bus.
Pardon me. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
I've had people
homeless.
Yeah, I've had people think I was homeless, which is fun because I have been homeless in the past, but this was always in the time when I wasn't homeless.
Well, that guy looked like he was pretty clean, so I would have guessed he had been homeless for maybe a day.
Yeah.
Like day one.
Whoa!
Oh.
Hey.
Move. I've used one of these. They work really well.
Oh no!
She tried some sour ice cream for the very first time.
Well, the young ladies will just have to wear something
Oh,
She liked it though.
is it making a tornado right now?
Ooh.
Are we watching a tornado form right there? Oh my gosh!
You want to get the fuck out?
Oh my
Oh
god!
my gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
The good news is that the truck was empty and nobody was hurt.
Yeah, I wouldn't try this. Especially if I
good,
was
though.
I was banging, I'd probably kill
Oh yeah.
my partner.
Darwin Award.
I'm already pushing it to the 9s, and now we're adding more tension and torque.
I do kind of want to try a hammock though one of these days.
You want
I've
to
heard
bang
good
in a
things about
hammock?
hammocks.
Or you just want
No, just for sleeping. I mean.
Oh, yeah, no, they're a lot of fun. Just make sure they're well tightened. You'll know because you'll feel right quick if something's off in the balance.
They're good
But
for
once they
napping.
are, yep, absolutely. Especially if there is that nice little breeze that will move it for you. You'll just go back to the crib. That's what happens. You just kind of I'm been in one for years. So
Clark, you want me? Here, hold on. I got it. Here.
Okay.
I can't believe they did surgery on corn.
Wow, rude.
Sometimes doctors will practice surgery techniques on fruits and veggies.
Huh.
It's like one of those ASMR compilations.
Wow.
Oh, do you remember a few years ago they were doing that with a grape? Do you remember someone was
No.
Yep.
yeah, that was doing the rounds. People had no idea what it was. That's when it was. They were doing little tiny surgery on like de-skinning a grape and like opening it up in incredibly close detail. And there was something very off-putting about it. It was just,
Well, especially if you don't know why they're doing it, you just be like, "What the fuck's going on here?"
yeah, I'm surprised Justin Wang never did a video explaining like the urban legend of the grape slaughterer or the grape flayer.
Yeah.
Pug.
Wow.
Pug.
Holy shit.
I know, baby.
British
Is this thing
humor is really
husky or
something
something,
else.
or what?
He's doing well.
Oh, we just lost Landon.
Uh-oh.
Landon.
I think that dog must have been raised by huskies or something, or possibly goats.
I actually think that it was just aware of how much we mutated it through genetic selection. That it was kind of
Oh no, it became uncomfortably self-aware.
yeah, it was like the antelope creatures in All Tomorrows that all they could do was sing, but be aware that they were
Never
from
heard of All
humans.
Tomorrows before.
Ooh, it's
Actually, speaking of which, I don't know about you, but this year I just like in the last 2 or 3 months I became aware that there's a TV show that people love called The Bear.
oh, I love
Which is
it.
apparently it's in season 4 or something. I have never heard of it before this year.
I've talked about it to you, and you said you hadn't watched it.
Well, it must have been a little while ago because I completely forgot that you mentioned it. But
It's such a
it's just
good
weird to me that everybody's talking about it this year, but people aren't obsessed about it before this year. I don't know. It's just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was kind of an underground hit. I liked it
Mm.
best because it was clearly written for people who were in kitchens by people who were in kitchens for people who were in kitchens because it is so
Okay.
raw. Um, it's
I would probably understand it then.
oh you
But
get it so bloody quickly.
yeah.
Landio. Oh, okay. Landon.
Oh, there was a green flash, but I didn't hear anything.
Well, we'll let him come back on his own or not.
Mhm.
In the meantime, I guess we'll just keep going.
Mike, what's your secret, Mike?
Oh, damn!
Can y'all tell how serious I am about tanning?
Pause.
Look, I got
to reserve bandwidth because I'm trying to reserve bandwidth because your video is coming through very choppy.
Oh, okay. Well, we can hear you now, so.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Okay, I'll just.
When the battery gets better, I'll turn my camera. I'll turn my camera back on.
All right, no worries.
When the battery gets better.
Let me just quickly add your picture. What the hell? Really? Really? It's not showing you. All right, whatever. I'll just minimize it. Oop. There.
My hose right here.
What do you think is on his mind?
Fuck. World domination.
Demon baby.
The skateboard dad asked his
Baby in the
3-year-old
brain.
daughter to record him
Yeah.
doing a trick.
Daddy. Whoa.
You did that! You did that, Daddy! I saw you come over the stairs.
If you want to get into a chilly lake, you need to acclimatize. You take your
Kiddo
arms.
was so proud.
Acclimatize. Acclimatize. Double acclimatize. 3,
Could you
2,
double
1.
climatize a few more times?
Yeah.
Or just don't be a baby and jump in.
Okay.
One of my subscribers recorded one of the most amazing rainbows I've ever seen. That is the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed, and
All the
I'll see
way
you guys
across the
again
sky.
Disc rainbow.
very, very
This is the true
soon.
light of the
Later.
emperor.
All right. Let's wrap it up because I'm getting very humid. I guess it's gonna be a very humid evening for me. Wrap it up with.
It is a bit muggy around here today too.
Well, I know that there's like a hurricane coming in the far south, and there's also what is it? There's like a massive heat wave across the state, so I imagine you're getting a lot of blowback for that as well.
Possibly. Now, obviously, we have to cover the maple boiled lobster.
Oh, okay.
Obviously.
I'll replace the chicken with that.
You win, okay? You win. I'm even using real maple syrup so you guys can't say redo it with real maple syrup. I know how you work. This jug of maple syrup was like twice the price of this stupid lobster tail. I've
but
already
it'll last
spent
long.
$2,800 on
Not for
lobster
him.
tails this year alone.
He's using the whole thing for this.
$17 worth of maple syrup looks like. It's a little, oh my God! What are we gonna accomplish anyway with this? The lobster's gonna taste like syrup at the end, we know. Here we go!
Mark,
That was
you
kind
just
of
sunk
sad.
it in.
This is kind of upsetting. Guys, I'm having second thoughts about this one. Oh, you better be cooked.
Looks like ice cream
Syrup
almost.
smells like lobster. And it tastes like lobster. All right, it's coming out. Well, all right, there it is. Let's give it a bite. It's actually pretty good. It has a very light maple syrup taste to it, so really it's no different than just dunking a piece of lobster tail in maple syrup. So I'm gonna have to give the lobster tail boiled in maple syrup a 5 out of 5. Now there's nothing left for you guys to complain about.
The maple syrup off of your wedding ring.
Nah, he'll just hand it over to Cobes, who will suck it awkward away.
Oh. Hey, tacos al pastor.
Oh, dear.
Delicious. See, people like to argue about whether or not pineapple should be on a pizza. How about putting it in your tacos?
I'd
Hell
rather
yeah.
have it on a taco than I would on a pizza, honestly.
I've had it on a taco. It's delicious.
Well, sometimes you can take squeezed guava juice on taco because it's a nice marinating. So that's a different approach.
All right. Let's do it. The
Well,
crunch
hey there,
of doom.
folks, and welcome back.
I feel sorry for his anus already.
I guess. They did it again. They sent me more things to sausage, and therefore I must sausage them. Thanks again to the
And we must
Batmans
steal
for
the
their
content.
generous donation.
It's the circle of the internet.
Come work with me. Oh, good God. Oh, good. There's a little image of a skull in case they
I'm
haven't
guessing this is
hammered it
probably
home.
ridiculously
Oh,
spicy or
it's
something.
got Rice Krispies in them.
And it's also probably Raisin would have that as a mild snack.
Yeah.
It smells like a normal piece of chocolate. Break off a piece and try it.
No!
No!
Saw that coming.
No! Yes! And
And that's why I believe a Roth IRA is more advantageous than a standard 401k.
Interesting as always, Finance Onion. It's too spicy.
Stop making dangerous sausages.
Counterpoint, my big fat stomach.
Ribs. Nom nom nom.
I gotta keep you alive until retirement.
Get out of here! Why? What? Why? Why? Razor pepper. Warning, tastes like lava.
Ah,
Why
welcome,
am I just
Raisin.
seeing these things now? My
You-
poops are gonna be
been
explosive.
summoned.
I hate this thing.
There's no other way around this, Raisin. You would be nibbling on this for fun. Sausage, in his infinite wisdom, is going to turn it into a sausage and eat it. And he
What
will
did you
hate.
guess?
He will hate this,
In you go, Chippy.
and we will love it.
And that's about half a pound of pork.
It won't save you. Nothing will save you.
It looks evil. I want to really taste that chocolate bar, so we're just gonna hit it with some salt and pepper. No
Alright.
butter powder on this one. The record shows
I'm still
I
weirded
took
out by the
the
concept of
blows
butter powder.
and sausage my way.
That's the doom water.
That's the pork water.
Aw,
In
pork
3,
water.
2, 1. Let's sausage.
I am disappointed. That's the water
Real
water.
poor showings for the sausage casing kid. With special thanks to this persistent Boxalo box artist, this guy. This Will It Blow is brought to you by Helix Sleep.
Blah 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 blah.
Missed it. They live another day.
Aw.
So I'm gonna have to give their Will It Blow 1 Mark Ruffalo's.
Aw,
Here we go.
it's the saddest Ruffalo.
Nope, maybe not. Okay, let's try this again. Here we go.
Too soon.
Hey. Will it burst?
Okie
No.
dokie, fartichokie.
Question is he gonna wash his
I think
hands
this
before he
one's
eats this
done.
thing?
Well, all right. It smells very chocolatey. Not very spicy though. And there
Uh-huh.
it is.
That's a trick.
Luring you in like a Trojan horse.
Okay, here we go. Opposing view, my big fat butt. That argument stinks. It is excellent.
Aw.
For sure it's spicy, but it's not. I'm gonna kill myself. Spicy. It's a pleasant amount of spicy, and it has a hint of chocolate in there, which is surprisingly good. I'm shocked at how much I like it. Probably because of how much I'm able to enjoy it instead of suffering under it. But yeah, I can
Like a
see
real
more than
food?
just me enjoying this kind of a sausage. A lot of spice, a little bit of chocolate. You can't go wrong. So I'm gonna have to give this sausage here a 5 out of 5. Batmans, don't send me any more spicy things.
Just send him all the spice.
This guy's very good at messing with our expectations,
For
isn't
what
he?
is a man?
I got a
What
5.
has
He's
he
hate it and
got?
he loves it. You think he's gonna love it and he
If
hates
not
it.
himself.
You were saying, Landon?
I would think he would give it a 4 or something, given he had some criticism of it, but whatever.
Yeah, once he transformed it into sausage, I guess it burned off a lot of the excess heat.
Yeah. Yeah, to be fair, the criticism was before he cooked it, really, so.
Yeah, when in its pure form, it was completely unedible. In its sausage form, it upgraded, just proving that if you want something to taste good in your mouth, make it phallic shaped.
Yes.
That's
Clearly.
that's the gist of it, the jizz of it, if you will.
Ooh.
Um,
Only if you put tomato on it.
Let's get that reform sandwich back.
Ew. Ew, ew, ew.
Ew, Nigel's for
It really was the whitest food I've ever seen in my life.
All right.
Of course,
I think we're gonna
If Nigel is going to encounter a milkshake, it must be vanilla.
always.
Yes.
And you know, at the end of the day, actually, no, I think it was Garen who said, "What a waste of a good milkshake." No one actively goes and thinks, oh, I'm gonna get a milkshake. And then, oh, here's Nigel Farage. I'm gonna sacrifice my milkshake. No, you've earned that milkshake.
Yeah.
You don't need to go and waste that milkshake on something as low on the totem pole of importance as Nigel Farage. It's
Yeah,
like,
save it for Sargon.
yeah, that was the test run. Now all far right conservative politicians must be milkshake.
Has that actually continued happening?
There have been attempts. Oh, when Sunak lost, he said like his goodbye speech. I have to show this footage. It's absolutely hilarious. British.
I wonder
Uh,
if they could add milkshake to the parliamentary bar, private bar. That would be fun.
when he had his goodbye speech, a YouTuber came up behind him and started to just hold his L up. Yeah. So they tried to zoom away.
I know that guy.
I like how he's dressed up and looking like he's taking it seriously too.
Probably how he snuck past the guards, honestly. But as the camera tried to hide it by zooming in closer to him, so you can just see him like scooting slightly behind Sunak's head, like to hold the L to keep it in shot.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think we're gonna skip Buff today because, simply put, it's really humid, and I want to strip down nude and maybe throw some cold water all over my fleshy torso.
I mean, now we're gonna need some cold water after hearing about that mental image.
Talk about a glazed ham. Let me tell you.
So shiny.
I'll be reflecting like the Astronomicon behind Cobus's head. So before I start peeling myself off like many layers of a grape, how about we hear from the almighty Krendar about what he has planned?
Well, I have planned. I still have a bit of
plan.
Dungeon Keeper 2 left to get through. I'm not sure exactly how many stages I've got left, but there's very little room left on the stage map. So I think I'm within the last 2 or 3 stages probably. So let's see where we get this week with that. Also, I've been replaying War for the Overworld just offline for myself because, Dungeon Keepers put me in the mood.
Yeah.
And I keep running into there's that one map I can never beat. Every time I try to play through that game, it keeps blocking me every time. The one where you're invading Mira's realm. I cannot beat that one.
One that always held me up was stopping the dwarfs from escaping.
Oh, the one where you're supposed to roadblock while they're traveling across the map?
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't too bad. I just made it so that the route they were taking was basically through the middle of my dungeon, and I had like one of those garrison rooms in the middle with a bunch of traps, and whenever they came through, I would just rally people to the middle.
Yeah. I'm currently in my Dungeon Keeper playthrough. I'm about to start the keeper free for all, where there's like 5 other keepers or like 4 other keepers in the same map.
Ooh, that sounds tough.
It's a good fight because I always remember.
Remember one with 3? Maybe that's the one you meant.
Yeah, let's see. There's Morgana, Draco, and I forget who the other one is.
It was you and 3 other ones.
Rakshaw. The lands of fire is mine. I will brook no other.
I think it was a very lava-ish map. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you get 3 choices. You get one that has a lot of resources, one that has a lot of land, and one that you start with no resources or land, but your best troops.
I wasn't sure if they were different maps or if they were just different starting points of the same map.
It's different maps, but it's the same principle.
Okay. I forget which one I chose.
Also, how many hidden realms do you do?
I think 3. There was a bowling one, a golf one, and I forgot the other one, but I think there was 3.
Shooting gallery, maze. Any of that?
No. Doesn't ring a bell.
I
don't play them anyway.
No, I played the maze for a little bit, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this. Landon, anything you want to promote before before we're out?
Sure. So on July 13th at 15 Pacific, there is a microbrew unnamed tavern, which is not a tavern, on Chester's Channel, and there's a full unnamed tavern, which is not a tavern, on July 20th, also being at 15:30. And we also have on August 2nd a volcano show where we will see what Madame Pele and the Kilo Volcano is doing. That show starts at
hopefully not much.
30 Pacific time. I believe, actually, no, I'm sorry. I believe it starts at I think it's either 13:30 or 14. I forget which time. Usually, Leslie looked at the last time. Yeah, we usually, the Madame Pele, yes, the same thing, starting at 13:30 Pacific is the mic check, and I think it's 14 is the start time. Yeah, usually Madame Pele is, it's actually a nice gentle volcano. Doesn't really bother anyone. So we will see whether or not our predictions for the following month will come true or not.
All right. I'll after the stream I'll put Jesh's link down there. As for me, I am not sure if I'll give you guys a stream tomorrow. If I will, it'll probably be Warcraft 2. If I don't, then expect that maybe on Tuesday or whatever. But tomorrow, for anyone who wants to join in, we're taking requests for South Park episodes. So far, we have 2, which is the Japanese toilet one, and the which I haven't seen, and the episode with the It. That I have seen that one, and we can grab a few more if people want to. One a guest, so if you want to join in, just join our Discord and show up around about this time tomorrow. As for this show next week, like I said earlier, we're gonna say hello to Jay Trudeau, longtime friend and occasional donator to the show. He's doing well on TikTok, so he's now one of us, a creator. So yeah, why not?
I do recommend the Japanese toilet show. Last time was in a showroom with fancy bidets. They had no champagne. I was disappointed.
That's unfortunate. But well, while we won't have any champagne either, we will hopefully have good times. But yeah, that's the show. Hope you all had fun. Hopefully this time next week I'll have had things a little more like they used to be. Until then, take care. Check out the link